I'm here to talk about overlanding, from how-tos, advice, gear, vehicle builds, and everything in between. Oh, hey there, I'm Jeff. Welcome to Oh, Hey There with Jeff. Today I have with me Tony from General Tire. This man knows so much about tires. He's given us a lot of knowledge that we're thankful for. So, Tony, first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience in the tire world?
Okay, well, I have worked for General Tire, or now Continental Tire, which covers both brands for the past 35 years. I have worked in manufacturing, in engineering as well, diagnosing problems on the road for commercial tires, semi-tires for several years. I was a product manager that developed a lot of the latest generation of General Tires. And I'm now the tuning and off-road manager in marketing for the company.
Cool.
I know a little bit about tires, yeah.
A little bit. Cool. Well, today we want to talk about the engineering and construction that goes into a tire.
Right.
A lot of guys, I think, look at a tire and say, hey, it has aggressive tread on it, and so I'm going to buy it. But maybe we don't know what actually goes into it and things to look for as we're buying the tire.
Right.
So, why don't you walk us through most of what you know and kind of give us a compressed version of that, the engineering that goes into it and then the construction of the tire.
Okay, well, to start, a tire is a very complex engineering vessel, if you will.
Sure.
It is not there to hold up the vehicle. The air actually does that.
Okay.
The tire holds the air and is the interface between the vehicle and the road.
Sure.
So starting from the inside out, the inside layer of the tire that you normally don't see is called the inner liner, and it takes the place of the tube. So it's this inside piece right here.
Okay.
And then the next layer out, or the next three layers out, are plies, or the backbone of the tire, if you would.
Okay.
In our case, with the Grabber X3, we have our strongest, heaviest cords. We call it Duragen construction, and that gives the strength of the body of the tire itself.
Gotcha.
And then outside of that, you have the rubber, which makes up the sidewall. Mm-hmm. There's also some pieces and parts down here. There's an anchor, the steel cord, if you will. We call it the bead. And that is what holds the tire to the wheel. That's the strength of the tire. A low range E will have a heavier bead than a low range C. Okay. Because it has to have more inflation, so you need more strength. Sure. So on top of that, then you start talking about the top of the tire, and the top of the tire consists of two steel belts. Mm-hmm. In this case, then it also has two spiral wound, about so wide, wound around the tire and back, cap plies. Okay. And then on top of that piece, then is the tread, but the interface between the tread and the cap plies, we use something we call a cushion, it helps the adhesion of the tread to the tire itself. And then the tread itself.
So there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on. A lot of pieces, a lot of ends.
Yeah.
The pieces of the tire are designed to have flex points, and we try to make those endings of those parts to be away from those flex points. And that helps the durability of the tire over a long time. What most people think of with the tire is the tread pattern itself. And the tread pattern, it varies on many different types of tires. This is a mud-terrain tire, considerably different than an all-terrain tire, considerably different than a highway tire. All depends on the service that you need. And the more aggressive pattern tire, in our case, the more aggressive pattern tire is also going to be built the strongest, because it's going to be into more severe service, off-road service, airing down service, that sort of thing. So in the case of the Grabber X3, it's got our strongest construction. It's strongest on the market.
Okay, cool. That's very cool. Now, you were telling me this earlier, and I don't want you to give away trade secrets by any means, but can you walk me through like the basic steps of how a tire is made?
Okay. Well, the tire starts with a cylindrical drum, which is basically this big. Depends on the size of the diameter of your wheels. We do this diameter of a drum, and it rotates, and we apply from the inside out pieces and parts. So the inner liner goes on, then the plies go on, and then we have the beads put to that. Yeah. Inflatable bladders on the outside of that, turn it up, and so then now you have the inside core of the tire on this piece of the machine. Okay. Because that is meant to expand into a larger size, quite a lot larger size, it will be on one drum where the steel belts can't expand. It'll be on a much bigger drum. So the drum for the steel belts will be nearly the same size as this. So that's put on over on the left side, let's say, of the building machinery. Cap plies get spirally wound onto that. The tread, uncured tread, gets put onto it. And then the machine puts them together and inflates them together. And so at that point, you have what we call a green or uncured tire. It's not in this shape. It doesn't quite look like a tire. There's no tread patterns on it. There's no anything. It's just a smooth black thing, vessel, that we then take and we put into a curing mold.
Okay.
So we turn it on its side, put it into a curing mold, and the curing mold is in fact the reverse, the negative of this tire. Right?
Sure.
So we got that tire and we put a huge amount of pressure inside the tire with a bladder, compress the mold onto the tire, and then cure it under pressure and lots of heat for a specific amount of time. And inside that mold, during this time, the rubber becomes molten, and it will then flow into that negative pattern of the mold. And then after it becomes molten for a certain amount of time, it cures. So then you have a cured tire. We pop it open, and it looks like this.
Wow, that's cool. I could watch that process, I think, just over and over again and
It's
watch
fascinating.
all that stuff happening. That's really
truly
cool.
is.
So there's a lot that you guys put into your tires. There's a lot of engineering and research that goes into your tires. And then I can only imagine all the tooling that you have to produce a tire. And then that makes me think of, oh, that's why you find a tire that's really good, and I can run a General AT-X now for years, and that pattern is going to work for me.
Right.
And I know that you guys keep upping your engineering and making it better.
In the design, let's say a top level type company, whenever you design a new tire, the tire that will replace the X3 in years to come, the product manager will sit down and do, after getting some engineering help and getting a benchmark ran on the best tires or most relevant tires in the market, will sit down and look at the percentages of performance of the best of the best. And then he will say that the next tire, the X4 maybe, the next tire is going to have to be 100% of this, it has to be 103% of that, and so on, until it comes down to that point where now R&D knows they have to build a tire to meet this package.
Sure.
That way, we always know that when we bring a new tire out, we have the best tire on the market.
Yep.
That's our goal every time.
Yep. That's great. And for us, it's been proven time and again with the stuff that we run from you guys. So thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it.
Glad to do it, and really appreciate you letting me come on and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for your knowledge. Thanks for sharing. Guys, if you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. We'll have a discussion about it. Tony, thanks again. And we'll do a few more of these. Keep an eye out for what else we got coming down the line with more tires. We'll see you next time.